Proper Punters, brought to you by CrossBet. Are you ready to level up your punting game?
All right, well, welcome back to another week of Proper Punters, and this week we're going without our old friend Big Les. I'd like to say our farewells to Big Les. Yeah. You only met him the once, Tommy.
Yeah, just one time.
We've got one young guy in, one young guy out. See you later. But no, he did an amazing job, and he's off working on the Rabbitohs radio podcast. So good luck to our friend Big Les. Let's have a look at Stradbroke Day.
Yeah.
How are we expecting the track to play?
Should be a good day, I hope. No rain forecast. The rail moves out another 2 metres out to the 4.5 metre position. And looking last week, I think we saw plenty of jockeys, J-Mac in particular, wanting to find sort of lanes 10 off the fence kind of thing, coming down the middle part of the track. And I think we'll see a bit of that again this week. I think that inside will be inferior. It
was a little bit of that up and off. You kind of didn't want to get, you didn't want to get too far back.
I think, midfield and forward and midfield, but I think settling dead last was a disadvantage.
It was a disadvantage. Look, and do you think it's going to be somewhat similar?
Yeah, I think so. Like looking back at last year's Stradbroke Day as well, these 3 consecutive weeks at Eagle Farm sort of wear and tear that car, the track down. And looking at sort of the strategy last year, Alligator Blood drew gate 17, sat in the 3 wide line and sort of came down the middle part of the track. So I think in those bigger fields, sitting in that 3 wide line and getting wider in the straight will be advantaged.
Yeah, my favourite position in racing is 3 wide with cover, especially in those big group ones where they are going hard.
Yeah.
Allows you to get out, build momentum, get cover right until that last bit and then pull out.
Yeah, definitely.
Great position. Well, we'll kick off with the JJ Atkins, and it's going to be a little bit of a tricky position potentially. Come race 6, barrier 2, James McDonald, broadsiding. How did you see the speed here?
I saw no out-and-out leader. I had a slow tempo on my database, but being a Group 1 where there's intent to win a race, I think someone could take it up and inject some speed into the race. Blinkers on Bitter Creek shows some intent, and Blake's been riding wonderfully at this carnival, especially getting up Warmonger and Boy D'Argent from on-pace positions. I think he'll want to roll forward and be ahead of broadsiding come the turn, because I think he knows broadsiding will have that superior turn of foot. So if he can be a couple of lengths ahead of broadsiding, he may be able to jag or snag it.
Can you see broadsiding sitting you would think a fair bit closer?
Yeah, definitely. I think James will want to settle closer, as he does when he finds those low barriers. And I think he may have to come up that inside part of the track, because I think the leaders will want to shift off that rail, come down the middle part of the track, and he might have to just come up underneath them, and he might just be on too superior of a horse and might just be good enough to come up that inside. But I think $1.70 currently is at its right price. I don't think there's any value to find out.
What price would you need to get to for you to be backing in?
Probably black odds. I sort of marked it at $1.95. But I'd want sort of $2.10 to be taking it.
Yeah, $2.20.
Definitely, yeah.
What did you make of the ride last start, Amelia's?
Yeah, I thought ridden upside down to its previous win.
Completely upside down. And her win was huge when coming against the bias from last down the outside at Randwick when it did play to the inside. And then obviously... No, didn't look to be too much pace in that race. Took off.
Yeah.
Ridden completely upside down, going from last to then leading and going very fast, and then kind of just got ran over. I thought his run was really admirable.
Absolutely.
A lot to be backing up here off such a tough run.
Those young horses now coming off a tough run, backing up 7 days later, could... Yeah, I'm not sure if it's an advantage for these lightly raced 2-year-olds to be backing up, but I mean, it's got plenty of ability from what we saw from its Randwick win.
Definitely. I thought broadsiding was probably clear top pick when I first looked. Just one of those things just go, and you go, fuck, barrier 2. Like, I hate when you sometimes see that massive switch.
Yeah.
Especially if we do think that the inside is the inferior growing, it's definitely not going to be a plus. And if you're taking red odds. A horse that I could not have been more impressed with, and look, I know it's going severely up in grade, but that is Mr. Artemisia. Mm-hmm. I love the way this horse hit the line.
Yeah.
It was a day that you didn't want to get too wide at Rosehill, behind Emirate, Sovereign Hill. Just the way it's just impressive, really, really impressive. It's a lot to do in a first prep.
Yeah.
But Chris doesn't risk these horses unless he thinks that they're ready for it. One thing, he won't travel these horses in their first preps or earlier in their careers unless he really thinks. I reckon this has been a little bit of a target race, clearly.
Yeah.
Super well bred. I think around that like $10, $12 mark. Unbelievable value, I thought. They looked the two for mine.
Yeah.
I'm hoping for the black odds with broadsiding. I'm hoping if the fence is a little bit pooey.
Yep.
And if there is one jockey that can get you out, will be James. But I think they're the two that I want to play in the race.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I'll be playing broadsiding if I get that drift. And if I think that inside's okay from the first 5 races, I think it'll be inferior, but just how inferior I think will be okay.
Should be okay.
Yeah.
All right, let's move along to the Dane Ripper.
Yeah.
How do you see the pace here?
One of the pace elements came out, Enterprise Pom, but I still see a fast tempo with Chinny Boom and Short Shorts coming up from Sydney, wanting to take up prominent positions. I think Coeur Volante, I probably butchered that name. It'll sit out the back, and I think CS Majik Fresh for the new stable with J-Mac on. I think they might want to be cold. Just looking forward to the Tats Tiara. They might just want to be hitting the line strongly. So I suspect J-Mac might want to sit off midfield, let it run home strong. But I'm all over Chinny Boom in this race. I loved the last start victory. It goes up 100 metres, which is a slight concern on its profile, but I like that it's hard fit and it's going to be up on speed while its main rivals are going to be sort of 4 or 5 lengths off it. If it can sort of get a break on him at the sort of 200 and hold on, I think at the $5, I'll be betting each way all day.
So you think she probably looks the one that's kind of, this looks more like her grand final where probably half the field are kind of looking to next start.
That's the way I was looking at it. I thought 1,300 you could sort of get on now. I think if she wins this and goes up to the Tats Tiara, then 1,400's a different beast, and I think some of the others in this race will have her measure.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I, being a typical troll perv, I was dead set pulling myself to Siesta McGurr. That she's now come and joined the Wallace stable. I think she was in the she was in the navy colours.
Yeah.
No, she was in the navy and she trolled in different colours. Her trial was breathtaking. I just was like, what the hell are you in the black book straight away? That's a horse that's flying. And I think Chris, just not long ago, had some horses that were racing really, really well off just one trial. And just the booking of McDonald, like you don't usually... McDonald's not the jockey that goes on when they're getting ready for next start.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think that it's a show of intent that he's been booked for this ride. I think it's, other than that, I agree. I think it's a pretty open race. I want to have something at the each way basis there at the 750. As you said, like horses like Roots, probably Vienna Princess are going to be looking towards the next start, and that will be their GF. I think this is a horse that could be winning and can really do something first up for the new stable.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, so the major feature of the day, the Star Stradbroke.
Yeah.
How does this just quickly, is this not one of the, no disrespect to all the owners here, but this is one of the lowest Stradbrokes I've seen in a long time. Like, to think that we had Think About It
last year,
who was looking like one of the best horses in the country at the time. I
don't think any of these horses will be winning an Everest off this sort of win.
No, I definitely don't think so.
Yeah.
Like, this is it looks like a Group 2 to mine. I like bar a couple of Bella Nipotina Magic.
Yeah.
There's a few, but it's a little bit of disappointing for a Stradbroke.
To put it
when
nicely.
you look at but when you look at the honour roll, it's such a good race. It's something that it's the pinnacle of the Queensland Carnival.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think it's probably missed the mark a little bit. But how's the pace look?
Above average. I didn't have it sort of helter-skelter, but I did have it an above average tempo. I thought Samana, I'll probably get that name wrong again. Samana rolls out wide, rolls across from the out wide gate. I think Prince of Boom will want to take it up again. But then I thought there were just plenty that will want runs just in behind them that I couldn't really figure out from their gates. So I kind of just begun with who I thought was going to lead and then let the rest of the map sort of let the jockeys figure it out in this Group 1. I think the 3 wide line will be on, and I think it'll be an advantage. I actually think when the barrier draws came out, all the market elects drew double-figure barriers, which I thought was a positive more so than drawing sort of gates 1, 2 or 3.
Yep.
In fact, 6 of the past 11 winners of this strategy have drawn gate 13 or wider. So I think it just shows that Eagle Farm is a track where you want to come down the middle part of the track, the inside.
Especially later in the day, it seems to chop out.
Absolutely.
I've always found it's there, Randwick on those major days and like Flemington, they always seem to be that you want to be middle to wider, coming from just at least off the pace and hitting the line, the best horses doing their best work late. Yeah, I totally agree there.
Yeah. So,
so where do you go? Where are you leaning?
I found no edge in my market doing it, and I checked the prices and I couldn't find it. Valana, favourite somehow in a Stradbroke. You wouldn't read about it. Good last weekend, but copped a 10 out of 10 from J-Mac. Gave it a peach. By then he'd figured out the pattern of the day and he just sat with cover and just gave it a slingshot around the corner.
How impressive was his last 200 metres though?
Yeah, getting stronger through the line. I think he ran the best last 200 of the meeting. So there was only upside off that win. The 7-day backup I'm not too sure about. I tried to look in its profile and it hasn't done it from memory, I believe.
Yeah.
So that's always an uncertainty. But I don't know if it'll get the same favours from gate 14 with Tim Clark on. So at the 550, I was sort of happy to just say that the price was close to correct.
So it's a bit of a no-play race for you at the moment.
I thought, as is like these big handicap group ones, if you wanted to sort of jag exotics, you could throw a few in at odds. I thought Samiana was a leader with 52 kilos. Hard to disrespect the Kira Ma stable. And if you go back through its form last prep, it's got a second to Zugotcha in a Coolmore Classic over 1,500. So if it sort of gets its own way up front, it could sort of give a kick and I think be hard to chase at sort of the $26 mark, I think it is. The Inevitable, good if right. Failed a few times at short odds in Tasmania, but has a third in an all-star mile behind Cascadian. So it's got good form on its day, but might be beyond it now, getting into a sort of an 8 or 9-year-old. And then I thought Antino, big win fresh against proper weight for age horses, and then didn't go right second up. Happy to put a pen through that one and say that this is the target from Tony Gollan and forgive it.
What about horses like Steffi Magnetica, probably on the wrong part of the track last start, just caught on the inside, roll on high, came down in the right part of the track, down in the weights. Yeah. I'm a little bit, I wouldn't say keen, but I definitely think there's a little bit of value here to be had in the Paul Pushka train, Stapati. Once again, barrier form, maybe a little bit tricky, but he's a horse that can definitely use his gait when needed. He's got the blinkers applied first time. He was wide, did have cover last start, but did love the way he was finishing off. Yeah. I think third up, Cherry Ripe. Horses only had 9 starts, so it's severely lightly raced. Has showed like that he's I think a pretty top quality animal. He's run in the Caulfield Guineas where he started second favourite behind Griff, was huge. That was a leader by. I was lucky I found Griff just out of the map that day just because it was playing on pace and I knew he wasn't suited from the white gate. I think his value is around $15 mark. I think this is great value for a horse that's got is clearly on the rise and is probably the most lightly raced animal in the race.
No, that's fair.
All right, let's close out the Eagle Farm Quaddie with the HJK World Pool Q22. How's the pace look here for the stayers?
A little bit of tempo. Depends how quick Spirit Ridge and Naval College want to go. I had them as the 2 leaders, and then I had sort of Faulkner Park getting back and other runners sort of wanting to sit off them. I thought Boy D'Argent would want to sit a bit closer. I heard Chris Lee say during the week that they plan on Adelaide River settling closer from gate 6. So I had a few up there. He's a shocker from gate 1. May want to settle a touch closer as well. But I had sort of a fast tempo with Spirit Ridge and Naval College being the two that wanted to take up the speed.
Okay. All right. Where are you going here?
This is hard. Staying races aren't typically where I
do your best work.
Yeah, do my best work.
I typically just
shoulder the staying races and move on. But I'm not sure about the Doomben Cup being a good form line for this. Boy D'Argent winning at sort of 30-1. The time was just moderate on the day.
It was a very funny run race.
Yeah,
wasn't it?
It was a weird one. So I'm not sure. I'm going to play devil's advocate and sort of look around that Doomben Cup. Faulkner Park was good in that race from the rear. Going up 400 metres is naturally a positive for those horses that are hitting the line strongly at a shorter distance. Gets a softer run from gate 3, but that may be unsuitable by the track pattern by race 9, gate 3. So at sort of, what is it now, $4, I was happy to look on from Faulkner Park.
What are your thoughts on the Adelaide River?
Yeah.
Pulls up sensationally back. I think it was like 650 to 420, something around that mark. Pulled up with cardiac arrhythmia, something I pulled up with at Oztag last night. But for some reason, I don't fire as good as these horses do.
You bounce back second up. I'll forgive Adelaide River. I mean, it's hard to sort of line up how much cardiac arrhythmia plays into runs and whatnot.
It seems to have an amazing strike rate of horses coming out and either winning or running well. Like it's a negative that produces a positive next start.
Yeah.
I think the other important thing was where there's smoke, there's fire. When a horse is sensationally backed first up and then something goes wrong, goes to show that someone knew or someone had an idea that this horse was going really well.
Yeah, definitely. J-Mac on is a good push as well.
Yeah, it certainly doesn't help.
It's an overseas Group 3 winner over 2,400, second in an Irish Derby. All of its staying form stacks up in Europe, and time again we see them. These horses come to Australia and just dominate.
Just absolutely lap out horses.
So it's hard to line up, but at 650, that's probably a better bet in my opinion than taking the $4 Faulkner Park, who's going to probably be rearward. I thought He's a Shocker ran well last start, actually ran quicker time than the Derby, won by Warmonger, and we saw how good that horse won. But gate 1 late in the day, I'm not too sure if I want to be playing He's a Shocker, but I'll be having it in my quaddie definitely.
What are your thoughts on the original Doomben Cup favourite in Kovalika? There's a horse that probably wasn't suited by the speed of the race. Kind of loomed and didn't finish off. Nash comes off, James Orman on and steps up in trip.
Hasn't been the punter's best friend, has it?
No.
Has gone under a couple of times. I didn't find it personally, but I gave it a pretty similar respect to what the market's got. I was around $7.50. If it wins, it can win without me on, I think.
Yeah. He seems to be a horse that the market always seems to find. I don't know what it is. I've found him a lot myself.
He's a bit of a line chaser, and then you follow him in his subsequent start, and he underperforms. And then you drop off him, and he hits the line hard. Yeah, again.
Which is, I think you've just got to be very careful. Sometimes if you liked him last start, always forgive him that one run. Yeah. In him, you probably have to give him a few more than one run. But there's another horse I don't mind is Amakura. She was another horse totally wasn't suited by that run. I thought her lead up to that race was really good. She won the Queensland Oaks around this time last year.
Has plenty of ability on its
has plenty of ability, definitely. I'm gonna go. I'm leaning with Adelaide River. I'm gonna stick.
Yeah.
There's one other horse actually just before Huetor.
Yeah. I can never find that horse. It'll be the death of me trying to when it wins and I'm not on it. But I didn't find it this time. I thought its best runs are on wet conditions.
Yeah.
So I think the dry ground will not be an advantage to this horse, while it will be an advantage to other horses.
No, I totally agree. And funnily enough, when you're talking about horses that are more suited on wet and dry, usually when you get these European horses coming over, they tend to prefer the wet going. But Adelaide River's best, all of his wins have come on a dry track.
Yeah. No.
His best form seems to have come on dry track. So I think,
he should be okay on this surface.
He should be. All right, well, that wraps up the Queensland Quaddie and the main feature races. Let's go to your best bets.
Yeah, I've got 4 best bets. 3 of them are at Eagle Farm. Eagle Farm race 2, Parade from the Godolphin stable. I think they've finally figured out the key to this horse, and that's time between runs, giving it sort of 35 to 42 days off between runs, and then with a trial in between. I think fresh is best, and J-Mac should be finding the right part of the track and storming home. Then we'll move to Eagle Farm race 5, the Gunsing Classic. I'm going to look at geriatrics on an each-way basis. Came over from New Zealand and hit the line really strongly, over 1,400 winning at Eagle Farm. I like the step up to 1,600, and Craig Williams stepping on is only a plus, I think. He should give it a nice run around midfield and can be hitting the line hard. And then as we discussed, Eagle Farm race 7, I really like Chinny Boom. I love the win last start, sitting outside the lead. Going up 100 metres is my only slight concern, but I think if the horse is hard fit, racing well up on speed, I think it can give us sight. But my best bet of the weekend is Belmont Race 5, Antique Miss. This horse has raced extremely well his preparation, just missing last start, hitting the line really strongly. I think now stepping up to the mile, it's ready to win its race.
Yeah, wow. There's a little bit of oomph there. Was that a bit of a bet the fuck up? You're going to be stepping right in there.
I'll be stepping into Belmont Race 5, and hopefully that'll be getting us the chockies. Otherwise, it'll be a dour Saturday.
It's always good when you can find one late in the day.
Yeah, Belmont Race 5 should be maybe 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and I can step in.
Step in, have a crack. Hopefully you've got a lot of bullets.
Yeah.
I will move to my best bets for the day. I'm kicking off early in the day with Rosehill Race 1, number 4, Swift Falcon. Didn't have a lot of luck last start on the inside. Ran behind that horse, Emilius, that we spoke about just before. Did come down the outside of the track. Didn't have a lot of luck in running. My only query is that Rosehill is in the 6 metre lane. When that happens, it can play on pace and on the inside, but this horse is drawn out. Bit of rain forecasted for there, and I think it hopefully will even the track out enough that this horse can be doing its best work late. I then move forward to race 3, number 2, Know Thyself at Rosehill. Had absolutely no luck at all last start at Canterbury. I won't abuse Josh Parr because I think he was a victim of circumstance, but I did have some choice words at the time, and it wasn't his fault. This horse, if it got clear running, it just wins. I think it's a really smart animal, and I think he will be winning. I move forward to Eagle Farm Race 3, number 8. Don't forget Jack. Couldn't have been more taken with his win last start at Doomben. I think he'll come on from the run. He looked like he had improvement when you looked at him on the yard from the TV, and I think this is a horse going places. And then I'm going to wrap it up with Broadsiding. Race 6, number 1, JJ Atkins. Barrier 2 might be a little bit inferior, but I think he's clearly the best horse. He's got the best jockey, and if anyone can overcome that, it's J-Mac on Broadsiding. And then we're going to finish off with the BTFU top 2. So these, it's a combined price and both horses to run top 2. And that is race 6, number 1, Broadsiding, and race 3, number 2 in Rosehill, Know Thyself.
Beautiful.
All right, well, let's hope that we can do a little bit of celebrating after JJ Atkins, and then I think we're moving up to Tamworth Carnival soon. That's coming up.
Yeah, can't wait.
I love that, Tommy.
I'll be following all the races.
Yeah, beautiful. All right, well, thanks for your time, Tommy, and we'll see you next week, hopefully with a few winners.
Cheers, mate. See you then.
What are you prepared to lose today? Set a deposit limit. For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.